we had to start over because I didn't realize I ran out of space, so it didn't save. But what I was gonna say was, if obviously they knew about this for a while. Like usually reports like this don't get declassified for decades, maybe even half a
Yeah.
century. So like
You have built
you
great
gotta think
cities
like
of
the
stone
mentality of
and
the
seen
government
early
in like the
empires
40s or
rise
50s.
and fall.
Like when you discover these things,
Soon you will
like
stand
if
under
you
the
were in charge
towering
of the
pinnacles
government
of
in the
castles
50s and you
alongside
found
your
out
gallant
that
knights.
there was another
That is
advanced
where the
Central
story of
Alien
your
race
people will
flying
be
around
written.
and shit.
Just as the
You
young
probably
apprentice
wouldn't
learns
want
to
to
carry a
tell
sword,
the
so
main
shall you
population.
grow to
Like, that's probably
understand your
something
place
you
in
just
this
do
world.
not want to tell anyone, because like
Kublai Khan,
you have no
grandson
idea
of
how
Genghis Khan.
insane people
You
are gonna
will
freak the
amass
fuck
an
out.
empire to rival his.
He
You
was
know
still
when
gonna freak
to
the fuck
bend
out,
and
no
when
matter
to
how normalized
strike
you
to
get
gain
him.
the
At least there
advantage.
would be
know.
like
I feel like
violent
people aren't-
And
revolutions.
political
People aren't, like,
prowess will serve you,
phased by that now,
as will
They're
your
so
martial
conditioned
skill
from
in your
movies
Oh, now we're
conquests.
and literature
talking.
and
Let's go.
so I just feel like now finding out that aliens exist is like finding out that I don't know, water's wet. Like it's not like a huge thing anymore. I guess that's the difference between us and the Native Americans when Christopher Columbus came over. Because like Christopher Columbus came over, they had no idea that those motherfuckers existed. But it's like we kind of know that aliens are probably out there. I mean, the universe is gigantic, so it's like I guess it's not as much of a shock. I guess we wouldn't really revere them as gods, but I don't know. I just feel like obviously there's no way that this is just now being found out. With the Hubble Space Telescope, all the probes we've sent out, the fucking NORAD, all these sensors and satellites and all the meteorology, like there is no way that this is just now a thing. Like this has got to have been found out like years ago, and then the government was like, no, you can't talk about this shit. We're blacklisting this. Like, you can't let anybody know that this is happening. But like at the same time, even if they did, I feel like it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like they act like in movies, like it would be such a huge revelation that people would just lose their fucking minds. But I don't see that. I see like about 70% of the population just be like, aliens exist. Cool. Like, I don't know. I mean, at least until they start doing some shit that we haven't seen before. Like, they start, like, blasting us with, like, photon weapons or something. Then it's like, okay. Then people will start freaking the fuck out. But if they're just, like, flying around the Pacific Ocean, like, who gives a shit about that? Is that a problem? I mean, is that trespassing on Earth? Like, do we have a right to say what species can visit Earth? I don't know. I don't know if anybody has that right. I guess if we had a globalized government. I mean, hell, maybe that's the reason that globalism has been pushed so much recently. Because they're like, yeah, we gotta form a global government right now because we have an impending war coming against fucking aliens. Which that would be even more terrifying, because it's like, all the people that have been rejecting globalism are like gonna lead to our demise.
I'm okay with that. If my rejection of globalism leads to that, I can live with that. I can die on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like anybody would know. Like, they didn't disclose that info, so it's like, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah, because then shit, I'd be like, well, maybe if somebody had fucking said something,
It makes sense, but even then, I still don't think we would even be able to form a global government because everybody fucking hates each other so much. So it's like, I don't think that's really gonna work. Well, how are we gonna form an alliance against an alien race? And the Saudis are gonna be like, nah, fuck you, and the Iranians are gonna be like, nah, we'd rather take our chances. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. Like it. I don't know. I guess there's not really an answer to any of this. Like, this is a situation that I think humankind has never been in. I mean, maybe the U.S. government has been in this situation for decades, but the populace hasn't. Like, it's weird. I mean, it's weird, but it's not weird at the same time. Like, I don't know if I should be scared or excited. Like, is it?
I don't think
should
you're
it
gonna
be
know
exciting?
anything for a while. Honestly.
Yeah.
They don't hide that shit from you until it's like they can't.
That's fair. I don't know.
Because remember, also at the end of the day, you're talking about like the U.S. government, which is a whole nother can of worms. Because it's like, what do you even fucking like? what are they even telling us anyway?
True. And it's like, is it only the U.S. government? It could be multiple government. Hell, they could have talked to like another government before us.
That's why they killed Kennedy.
And yeah, can you imagine?
That's why the CIA killed John Kennedy right there.
Can you imagine the first government they make contact with? It's like, I don't know, like Russia. And Russia's like, yeah, don't talk to these guys. And over there in the U.S., they're evil. We need to eliminate them. And the aliens are like, I bet.
Yeah.
Now that was fucking terrifying. Because like I remember there was like a talk show, I don't remember what it was called, but like there was like an ex-Israeli Mossad agent, and he was talking about how like the U.S. and Israel had already been talking to aliens for like 20 years. He said that like we had already had communication, we like started to form an alliance, and like all this stuff, and like everybody thought it was a joke. They were like, bro, there's no way that fucking happened. Like of all countries, why would the aliens discuss this shit with the U.S. and Israel? And I thought about it for a little bit because, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Why would they pick those governments out of everybody else? But I only think they did that because the U.S., we won the space race. Fuck. And we are still winning the space race right now. Like, even though we don't spend as much money, we have private.
I mean, the furthest man-made object in history that's flown into space has the American flag on it.
Exactly. And we have Elon Musk.
And we put a whole record of, like, this is what humanity is inside of that shit.
And hell, Jeff Bezos goes to space as a vacation. He's not even a scientist. He just flies up there just to fucking fly.
He did it like once.
But still, that's incredible. What other country has entrepreneurs that just fly up to space just for the fun of it? No one. So that to me makes more sense that they would talk to the U.S. because we probably have detected them, at least with like Voyager. Or like those probes that have gone deep.
Was it Cassini or whatever the fuck it's called? I mean, only seen up in like the fucking 80s. It's like near like fucking Neptune or some shit. All I know is that if they show up, they better stack up. Yeah.
I just feel like if the government's having a they're saying like they can't tell if the aircraft's man-made, which that's terrifying in itself. Because then it's like if we can't even tell how it's made, how are we gonna?
What if we can't even tell, but it's actually just our enemies? Like that's even scary.
Yeah, that is scary.
That our enemies have technology that we can't even tell is of this earth. Like
it's scarier, but also not because then you know it's a human enemy to defeat. To defeat another species from another planet, like that is so terrifying to think of. Like you have no idea what they're capable of. Like it's a great thing about history and like the art of war and everything on Earth is like you know exactly the capabilities of humans. You know exactly what human governments are. Oh shit, my food's blowing up. I'll be right back.